What's up guys, and in this video I'll be showing you how you shoot smoother 4K video even if you're shooting on a Nikon Z50. Or hell, even D5200. Stay tuned, I'll tell you exactly how I get the smoothest video. So it doesn't matter what camera you're using, the biggest thing that people mess up on is your settings. So you get the smoothest when it comes to motion, right? Is you want to have your proper camera settings. So if you're shooting in 24 frames per second, you want your shutter to be 1/50. Because anything above 1/50, let's say you shoot at or you're filming videos, especially at 1/250, it's gonna look really choppy. So you're not gonna get that natural motion blur. So making sure your shutter speed is at the right setting. As well as another way is you want to be able to shoot slow motion. Even though the Nikon Z50 does not shoot, let's say, 60 frames in 4K, what it can do is 4K in 30 frames. So if you're editing in a 24 frame outline or timeline when it comes to, let's say, in Adobe Premiere, what you can do is, even though you're not going to get that super cinematic slow motion, shooting at 30 frames allows you to slow down the speed just a smidge, so then your footage will look a little bit smoother. Next is we're going to talk about equipment, because yes, equipment does help. So what can you do when it comes to shooting smoother videos? Well, one of the things is making sure your lens itself has VR. So I'm shooting on the Nikon Z50 with the kit lens, the 16-50, and it does have VR, meaning a vibration reduction. What that does, whether you turn it on and off, like the description, even check out that video, is that it takes away the little micro jitters. And if you have VR as well as IBIS, let's say some of the bigger camera models, turn both of those on and you will get much smoother video and camera footage. And on top of that, what you can also do is invest in a gimbal. And what is a gimbal? A gimbal is essentially electronic handheld stabilizer that essentially creates much more robotic but almost smooth, like buttery video. And I'm using the Tech AK2000, link description if you want to check that out, as well as the other videos I filmed. But since my camera, the Nikon Z50, does not shoot in with IBIS, aka internal body image stabilization, there isn't that dual IS that most systems have with the higher end. So what I can compensate with that is that I'm using a gimbal on top of a VR lens. And there's also one major point that I'm going to talk about, and it's going to be about warp. So one of the overlooked things about stabilizing your footage is that you want to make sure you have the right things in that order. You want to make sure your settings are right so you get the smoothest video, the crispiest, smoothest video that you can get. On top of that is you want to make sure you have the right equipment. And then the final and last step is post-production. Because whether you're using Final Cut or Adobe Premiere, what you can do is you can use something called the warp stabilizer. And yes, you can crank this up in Adobe Premiere to have, like, say, 80% warp stabilizer, but it's gonna look really funky. What you wanna do is set anywhere the warp stabilizer from 1 to around 40%. You can play around with the percentage, and that will give yourself a much more smoother video in post-production. So now you apply all those steps, and that, even with the Nikon Z50, I'll show you right now, is that you can get pretty smooth 4K video filming in 30 frames. Let's say, for example, you have the right settings as well as you have a gimbal, and you will get the most smoothest footage. And yes, there are times where you want a little bit more shaky handheld footage. Let's say it's a rap music video, or let's say you want to go for that kind of raw, realistic look. Yes, go for that. But if you're looking for a more professional cinematic look, then the smoother the footage is usually the better. So make sure you guys apply those tips, and link in the description if you can grab my free camera guide, as well as if you want to get serious about video content creation. Everything is in the link description below. My name is Peter, and make sure you check all my other videos and links and products I talked about in the description below. Check it out. Have you checked it out yet? My name is Peter. You're watching a Broke Visionary Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something. Cheers, guys.